I think the NCAA already came out that everybody gets a fifth year now. It used to be 4 years when we were in school. Now it's automatically 5 because you got to fucking think about it. There's kids in fucking college right now that are 26, 27. They're my age. I've been out of fucking school for 5 years. It's a job. They're at this school. They're getting paid $500,000. If they left college today and got a job, they are not making that much money. So I get it now. I can get why there's a 27-year-old at Miami milking that tit for as long as he can. Welcome to the Real Oshow. I'm Zachary. Joining me as always is my partner in crime, my brother Joshua.
And on today's episode, we talk about St. Francis going from Division 1 to Division 3 after losing in March Madness, DDG making his new album live for his fans, and a lot more. Enjoy.
I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. We going hard for the hand. We gonna stack till we jaded.
This is a great interview. They doing their thing.
Two brothers did get paid $800 million to not own an NBA team. And how that happened was, so the year was 1974. The Silna brothers, Ozzy and Daniel, they knew the NBA and ABA were going to merge. So they were like, shit, we want to get an NBA team. So they went and bought some California team for $1 million, brought them to St. Louis, called them the Spirits of St. Louis. The team was around for 2 years. Then the ABA, NBA merged in 1976. There were 6 NBA or ABA teams. They didn't want 2 of them. It was the Kentucky Colonels and then it was the Spirits. So then they were like, here's $3 million. Well, the Kentucky team was going bankrupt. They're like, give us the $3 million. The brothers were like, nah, fuck you guys. We're not signing no deal. Like, we're going to be a part of the NBA. So then they were like, no, you're not going to be part of the NBA. So they negotiated a deal which gave them $2 million upfront cash. And then they got 1/7 of the TV rights of the 4 ABA teams that did go to the NBA. So then they were making like a couple $100,000 every year, whatever. Fast forward to 2014, they're making over $20 million a year just off the TV deal rights. And this is when the TV deal rights were not shit, right? Because nothing really was TV until Michael Jordan came. Once Jordan came, it started kind of up pacing. So then 2014, Adam Silver becomes the commissioner of the NBA. He starts looking at all the TV deals. You know, he's a big wig lawyer in New York at the time. He was like, yo, this is all fucked up. He's looking at the future TV deals being like, yo, we're going to be making $7 billion a year. And we have to give them $1 billion. So he was like, we're not going to do that. So they paid him out, the brothers out, in 2014, $500 million. They had already made $300 million since the thing. So they got paid $800 million not to own a team. And then if you look at like the new TV deals they have this year, they just signed in 2024, they signed a deal worth $12 billion.
The NBA did.
NBA did $12 billion for 11 years, which means the brothers would have been making like $935 million a year had they not signed the deal. Now, Ozzy, one of the brothers, passed away a couple years ago, so it's not like it really mattered. Like, they sold it at a perfect time, like $800 million, more than enough money, you know. But kind of a crazy story.
All I could think about when you were telling that story is that Jackie Moon and Semi-Pro is based on a real story.
No. Semi-Pro is legitimately based off of like real shit. A lot of those things that happened were like real style things. Now, I don't think
they call it the ABA. I think they call it the ABA.
They literally talk about the ABA NBA merger, and they, even in the show, they talk about, hey, the top 4 teams are gonna go, and then they're like, no, actually,
it's the top 2, right?
No. It's not about the top 4.
That's right. They picked the 2 teams.
It's the 4 best fan bases.
Yeah.
So the Spirit, the Flint Tropics and that world don't have the fan base. And again, that's why the Kentucky Colonels and the St. Louis Spirits were kind of done. St. Louis didn't have a fan base because they were just so new.
Well, they didn't have a football team either. That's why the Rams moved to LA as well.
I mean, listen, St. Louis may be a good sports town, but maybe not good
for
sports
baseball.
Town.
It's a baseball sports town.
For sure, but you got to think about it. I mean, the foresight of these guys to be like, yo, we have the money. Let's buy the team. We know there's going to be a merger.
Well, it makes complete sense. They had no risk. If they bought the team for $1 million, moved it from California to St. Louis, they then got $2 million of upfront cash. So that means they're $1 million in the green. Obviously, there's some expenses in there.
There's definitely more expenses in there.
Say couple $100,000, they're in the green.
Yeah,
they're essentially just betting on the NBA growing a little bit or just getting a small percentage of the TV deal. Obviously, they saw the foresight of some kind. Obviously, they knew before the merger that they're like, let's just pay $1 million. We're gonna get paid out or be in the fucking NBA. So, to me, that wasn't a crazy deal. That's almost just like obvious. Like you're in the green at that point to just sit back and just collect money off TV rights. Makes complete sense. But also, whoever negotiated that deal for the NBA should be fucking fired.
Well, I think you got to understand, in the NBA, those TV deals were worth nothing at the time. So when they negotiated those deals, it was kind of like, we just want to get them off our back. Because I'm sure they were trying to strong arm the NBA and be like, yo, everyone's agreed. So it ain't that hard to just add us to a team. If they would have just kept being a real like thorn on their side, they probably would have just made them an NBA team and been like, yo, if you don't get to X, Y, and Z, you're just not going to have a team anymore. That's probably what they would have eventually done. And these brothers would have made it happen. Like you could make a fan base in St. Louis. That's a real thing. So in my mind, I look at that and I'm like, bro, not only the foresight, because a lot of people can see things like, oh, I think it's going to go this way, but to have like the real balls to be like, yo, we're going to go out and fucking do this no matter what, even if we do lose money.
You know how well before we were born, these leagues came about, whether it's the NFL or the NBA or the MLB. Obviously, the MLB was probably way more far along than the NFL and the NBA at this point for sure, because it was America's pastime. But how all these leagues expanded and have had, recently some expansion teams. Do you think there's going to be like the leagues are going to condense, like teams are going to get cut off? Do you think that's going to happen in our life?
It's only going to get more. I think it's only going to get more. I was just thinking about LeBron.
I could see NFL. What you think NBA is going to continue to expand?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because they're going to add a team in Vegas, and then they're going to try to add a team to Seattle. See how I see it.
But you don't see any of those other teams actually going away to add those teams. I think one team at least has to go away to make that happen.
Like Charlotte could go away. I mean, fuck, dude. This is kind of maybe a hot take, but the Wizards, like,
it's DC. Never gonna happen.
Matter. It's just like, bro, it just
never gonna happen.
No fan base, never a good team. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's not that crazy.
No, never gonna happen. Not in the capital. I could see Charlotte. Let's brainstorm another team. What's another team? Come on. Sacramento Kings.
Maybe. But again, Sacramento has a massive fan base, and even when they suck, they still sell it out.
Interesting.
So that's the difference of it. I don't know. I think that's why like LeBron wants to start this league overseas, is to almost be like, hey, we're going to merge and you're going to have to then take on our European teams. Why not?
I just don't see LeBron.
If it was big enough, they would.
I don't see LeBron and Maverick Carter's league as the same as the NBA. They already said they want to be the Formula One of basketball. I could see them doing exhibitions, maybe some crossover games, maybe. But it goes back to my point the whole time. The talent drop-off is super real. Like, if you're a fucking great player of all leagues, the NBA will fucking find you. No matter where you are at. There's plenty of European professional leagues that, Luka was playing it when he was 15. Wemby was playing it when he was 15. Like, they will fucking find you if you're good. So that's my point with starting this Formula One of basketball. I see it as once Kevin Durant, LeBron, Steph Curry retire, they're going to go play in that league to go make $100 million a year and kind of be like show ponies to basketball, continue to expand it, where the NBA will then be like, hey, we're going to pay you as a partnership, and or what we talked about in prior podcasts with the TV deals being so fucking big. ESPN's going to be like, no, NBA, you have to partner because we're not making enough money off our TV deal. And unless you want us to restructure it, we need those basketball games as well as just more real estate on TV.
Again, that just goes to the point of that's a merger. Essentially, it'd be like the NBA and WNBA had the WNBA is linked to the NBA. If this league was linked to the NBA, you would essentially, it'd be like a merger. You'd be making 20x what they would actually make if it was just by themselves. No one cares unless the NBA cares about it. And it's the same thing. Once you start playing merger games where you're playing each other, that's like the first steps of being like, oh, we're going to have a partnership. Happened with the XFL and whatever the fucking...
AFL?
No.
Or the USFL.
The USFL. They would like, their champions would play each other. Now what do? They're like, we might as well just join leagues. It all starts. Now the NFL is kind of looking at them as like, they're kind of like our minor league team.
I just don't see logistically how that makes sense with the Maverick Carter League and the NBA.
Maybe.
I logistically I don't know.
It just depends on the money. If they got fucking Saudi money.
Yeah, of course. Saudi money, anything can happen. I see it as just more of like, once these superstars retire, they play in that league. That's how I see it.
Maybe. I mean, I think the NBA
which is good TV.
The NBA is so competitive though that if you could pay more than like the G League to do it, they might fucking, I think like I said, it's all about the money. No one wanted to leave the PGA until Liv was getting fucking $200 million guaranteed contracts. They're like, See you guys. Like you start pitching lower end NBA guys being like, hey, come over here. We're gonna give you fucking $100 million guaranteed. Okay, what's the difference?
But it doesn't hurt until you steal LeBron or Steph or KD
maybe
or Jason Tatum.
Or you steal the next fucking Luka who's already overseas and you just have him over there and he's your show pony. I don't know. The difference is the top of the top is never not going to go to the NBA because they're going to get the money.
Yeah, of course.
But it's the middle guys, and then all it does is you just take a little bit of motion. Like, you look at the PGA, they didn't take Tiger Woods.
No, but they took some really good players.
They took
though.
like a Phil Mickelson. They took
they took
Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, there was another guy too. There's another big one. I can't think of his name. I'm so out on golf. Like, not like that I don't enjoy, just like I don't know the fucking name. I can't think of his name.
Bryson is the biggest, and then it's Phil.
No, there was another guy that's actually like better. We should look it up.
He's a regular on PMT. Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about, but like I said, again, Brooks Koepka was like at the peak at the time. Like he was like number one golfer in the world, went over there. Again, I don't think that's that crazy because it'd be like this. It'd be like them being like, hey, Jokic, you're going to have a Slovakia team. We're going to go to Slovakia twice a year. Your season's cut in half. Instead of playing 82 games plus, 30 fucking playoff games, hey, buddy, you're going to make the same amount of money. We're just going to pay you, they got to play 40 games. Why not? A guy like Joker would be like, sign me up, bro. He don't give a fuck about the NBA.
But that doesn't move the needle.
Sure does. Overseas it does.
I don't think that moves the needle. It's got to be LeBron.
Does. No, bro. LeBron
got to be Steph.
Ain't ever going over there. You're not going to convince an American to go over there. It has to be, again, the best players right now aren't from America. The top 5 best players in the league right now are not American. They're not American. So if you got those fucking guys.
That's just so not true. So not true. You don't think Steph Curry's top 5 anymore? You don't think LeBron's still top 5?
Not in MVP voting right now. No, they're not.
Dude, you can't give fucking Steph Curry and LeBron James the MVP every
Shai
year.
Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Joker, Giannis, and I bet there's the 5th one there is maybe an American. Maybe you got Anthony Edwards in there. That's all I'm saying. If we looked up the MVP voting odds right now, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Joker, Luka Doncic.
SGA's from Canada, and Canada's pretty much America.
Not America. Does he?
Yeah.
Does he?
But
Does
they're
he
the 51st state.
Does he play for America in the Olympics?
It's
no.
the 51st
So
state.
then again, that's
shout out
exactly
our
my
president.
point.
Canada's the 51st state.
No, it's exactly my point that I'm trying to make is that the best players right now in the NBA are not American. So if they did a Team World versus Team America, Team World would obliterate Team America. Obliterate. Because if you look at the best American players right now, they're above
older.
35.
Yeah, they're older.
Okay, that's exactly my point.
But they still would probably win.
No, they won't.
Bro, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant are 100% a threat every time they step on the fucking court. And every single player in the NBA would be like, yeah, those 3, I don't want to see them ever on a court.
If you put
don't care the age.
starting 5, if you have because here's my thing. Giannis, good defender, he's gonna lock him up. Joker, who is on the American side is gonna guard Joker? SGA and Steph Curry, like, you gotta assume SGA is 10 years younger than Steph Curry. Like, it's just there's just different things. I'm not saying that SGA is better than Curry. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying if you put a world team right now, it would beat Team America. Because America right now, it's not like they were obliterating teams in the finals, bro. They almost lost to fucking France. And France has Wembanyama and fucking Rudy Gobert. So it's like, or Rudy Gay, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't even care.
Yeah,
Gobert. It's Gobert.
Gobert.
Whatever. Like, they could barely beat that team. So you're telling me if they had everyone? No, it's not like Steph Curry played out of his mind and they barely won.
But how much effort are they actually giving? Like, I don't think they're playing full effort until it's
the finals.
crunch time.
That was the finals.
Yeah.
The finals was
But
France,
everybody's
US.
gunning for them as well.
Okay.
You got the big target.
Exactly.
It's hard to win when you're the best team supposed to win and blow everybody out.
Right? It's
a lot tougher to be than no one knows who the
that's
fuck you
part
are.
of being the best, right?
I agree.
And I'm just saying, if you are claiming to be the best, then yeah, you're going to get that. So it is what it is.
Let's stay in the basketball realm. And obviously, this goes right directly with paying players. St. Francis was in the play-in game against Alabama State to go to the NCAA tournament. They lost on a last-second layup, which was absolutely just blown defense. They are now moving from Division I to Division III because they literally can't afford to pay the players in the transfer portal and everything that's going on with NIL. This is fucking insane. And this goes in my whole theory about March Madness. I was just talking to a couple of coworkers the other day. March Madness is one, not that exciting. Goes into my whole theory that after the first 2 rounds, it's never really been that exciting because the best teams eventually win and win out. Like there might be some surprise teams and Cinderella teams. But what is going on with March Madness, I truly believe there's going to be a perfect bracket in the next 3 years.
One, I saw a video on it and I thought the same thing, but I don't think that anymore because it's 9 quintillion to get a perfect bracket. You have a better chance of winning the lottery back to back to back times than getting a perfect bracket. So when that being said, I don't think it's going to happen. 2, this is the highest ratings have ever been for March Madness, and there's no upsets. So I'm going to go right there. People don't care. People don't like upsets.
Well, that's gambling.
No. I'm going to say this right now. People don't like upsets because the only people that like upsets are the journalists who have to write about it and try to create these stories. Like I said before, the most viewed March Madness ever. We can go back 2 weeks and watch the video when I said it. I literally said the most watched Final Four would be Duke, Michigan State, Florida. It's like all the blue bloods, all the teams that people know and like. Those are the teams people want to see. No one cares about McNeese State and their fucking trainer dude, whoever the fuck his name is, the guy Amir, who's shining shoes and shit. No one cares about that. Like, truthfully, like that was a
social media does,
dude. People were doing it because they were bored, bro. No one's like actually like McNeese State. Like, no one actually cares what the fuck that guy is doing next year. No one cares.
But 0%. My point of you being like everybody wants blue bloods makes me more bullish on there's going to be a perfect bracket. If there's less upset, then that means more people are going to have a chance to pick it.
It doesn't matter. It was like what I was saying before. Hey, man, we should do a thing where we try to get a bracket that has no wins on it, like a perfect no-win bracket where we don't win one game. That would be also impossible. All these things is the numbers say it where it's like you just can't be perfect. Even if you pick all the favorites, eventually it's going to be all 1 seeds. Who wins? Who's the favorite? You know what I mean? Like at some point, someone's going to lose. Something's going to happen. They're still kids. I don't think there's going to be a perfect bracket anytime soon. If it does happen in our lifetime, it's going to be an anomaly. And it's going to
happen.
And what's going to be? It's going to be some random chick who's never watched a game in her life and just was picking because she likes the colors. Like that's a better bracket than the guy who spends his whole life doing bracketology. That's why I think it's so funny. All these people that are college basketball experts, like this little moment they have every year is like March Madness. Listen to my picks, and they are 40% correct. Like your job is college basketball, and you couldn't pick 40% of these right. You know what I mean? Like that's.
But it used to be hard because it was all-star player from unknown school comes out and fucking beats a 3 seed or a 2 seed. That is never going to happen again.
Bro, March Madness has the best marketing ever because even when the team that they want to go far loses, they spin it into, look at this Cinderella story. Great. That's great marketing, but I truly don't think people want that. I know we talked about that earlier. No one cares about the fucking Cinderella story. Like no one actually cares.
I think that's true, but what I'm trying to also say, it's not madness anymore. It's just March. It's a March basketball tournament.
Yeah.
And the views are up, I think, fully because of gambling.
Well, you would think so, but then NBA are at like a career low, like an all-time low.
For
right
gambling
now.
or
No.
Views?
Just views. Just watching.
Because the game sucks.
I'm not talking about
the game sucks.
I'm just talking about purely watching the games. And yes, is gambling an aspect of this? Of course it is. Of course. Like, of course it is. I won't be surprised if a couple years from now, I got motherfuckers on McNeese State reading DraftKings ads, on their off days. I don't think that's gonna be that far off. You know what I mean? LeBron does it in the NBA. Why does it not?
He does gambling picks,
bro. LeBron all football season. Him and
yeah,
Kevin
but football,
Hart.
not
exactly.
Yeah.
So why couldn't he be like, hey guys, I'm here with DraftKings.
I got Lakers money line.
No, not even talking Lakers, because like right now you got a bunch of shit going on, right? There's other sports going on. Hey guys, I got the Detroit Tigers money line opening week. Why not?
I got Tigers money line and Sacramento Kings over the Lakers tonight.
Yeah, they're like, but like that's for real. Like it's really gonna happen. It's gonna pretty soon it's not going to matter. The lines are going to be so gray that it's...
They better put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame for baseball once that happens, even though he's dead. They better put him in.
I don't condone betting on games that you plan. Like, that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. But there are a few bets that had you placed on your team, like, you're like, hey, I'm putting my team to win the money line. Like, if you're not betting the spread, but like I got my team to win outright on the money line, or like I got a goal on myself, like I'm going to score a goal today or whatever it is.
That's what Pete Rose was doing. He was betting on his team to win.
That's what I'm saying. That is whatever. To me, I'm like, it's wrong. It's frowned upon. You shouldn't be doing that, but you don't get a lifetime ban for that. Now, if you're like, yeah, I got the spread at 3. We're up 4. Ball to me. Oh shit! I fumbled it. Like then we got a problem. There's an issue when you got that one dude in the NBA who's like taking the under on his points, going in for 2 seconds. Ankle sprain. My calf's tight. That's wrong. You should not be doing that.
He's still playing in the NBA.
No, he's not.
Oh, it was the Raptors guy.
The Raptors guy.
But there's another guy that's on who was on Charlotte, who's literally is playing in the NBA and is getting investigated by the FBI for gambling on NBA games.
He could be.
He's still playing.
But they're going to let you play until they get it if they don't have anything hard on you. Now,
dude, the fact you're being investigated by the FBI means there's some evidence there that you were fucking cheating.
For sure. I mean, it at least is very gray. And here's the thing. It's so easy for gambling apps to fucking tell when you're gambling on someone because, hey, like for the Raptors guy, for example, he had no bets on his props, and then someone just drops $1 million on his prop. Huge red flag goes off.
Yeah.
Even if they put $5,000 on that motherfucker, they'd still be like, "What?"
I think anything over like $500 is probably getting flagged in the gambling aspect because most people are putting like $25.
Yeah, everything is
like like $100 is a big bet in the grand scheme of betting. Well, I promise you.
Listen, all these gambling apps tier you, right? Once you gamble $100,000 on your app, you get put into a different category of like you are a professional gambler. Now you have you can only bet certain things. You can't bet everything like the average person can bet. The average person, they're like, yeah, you can bet on everything. You're dumb as fuck. Like the name for people that just bet themselves is just dumb money. If you're just an average regular person, you're dumb money. You're putting shit on random shit. People are just like, oh, I'm going to do it for the fun of it. They don't know anything. The people that really degenerate gamble, the people that really know how to make money gambling sports betting, they're gambling fucking 7 times a year. Like they're literally betting 7 times a year. The greatest sports gambler of all time, he was on Joe Rogan. I forget his name. He's like, dude, I've literally placed 8 bets in my whole career. And he's made like
because he's doing a lot of science behind it. And
he's got his own thing. So when he has a different line than the book, he'll put X amount of money based on how far they're off. So like there was a Super Bowl where they were like 8 points off, and he ended up winning like $50 million because he then just kept taking the points because he's like, no, in my system I got this. So it's pretty interesting. But like most people are like, I like this, good feeling, boop boop boop. Send it off.
Well, that guy also says that the average person bets on the most popular game too, which is actually not the way to bet.
Well, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Once I see how much money is on the game, I normally don't want to do it. Like primetime games, you don't want to bet.
Yeah.
At least you don't want to bet before the game. There might be some live lines like during the game that you can jump on, and that's kind of how I like to bet nowadays. I don't think, unless there's a line that like I really is juicy, I'm like, ooh, I need to get on that. I don't feel the need to. Live betting is the best way to bet, personally, to make money, I think. And I could be completely wrong, but when you see a team and they're dominating on the court, but they're down 5 points, and they're like the spread is plus 4.5 you're like, give me the 4.5 points. But these guys are dominating. It's very, you got to know what you're looking at.
I want to rewind a little bit with St. Francis going from D1 to D3. Joshua, do you think this is going to happen more? Because you got to think about it. Like these mid-major schools cannot afford to pay players, and all their best players are going to leave. How the fuck do you stay competitive? Like you can't, like anytime, you dive into freshmen, maybe you get some transfer portal guys from bigger schools that just want to play and then eventually go right back because the transfer portal is literally the Wild West. Like these mid-major schools, like I went to Eastern Michigan. You went to Adrian College, which is Division III small school back in Michigan. I went to Eastern Michigan, small, very small D1 school. I don't know how these schools last in this era. Like, if you can't fucking pay to keep players or even get players, how the fuck does the NCAA expect to, like, keep these amount of teams? I think there's going to be a great reset. I think there's going to be fucking 80 D1 schools, before we know it.
I'm going to give one. Hockey does it the best. Hockey has the best system for NCAA sports personally because they're very limited. There's like 40 D1 teams, and then there's like 40 D3 teams. There's no D2. It's very limited. Everyone who has a team is good. But I want to shout out to President Jeffrey Docking at Adrian College, because we had an opportunity to go take Adrian from D3 hockey to D1 hockey. There is no D2, guys. There's no D2. So he was like, we had the opportunity where the NCAA was like, hey, if you guys want to move to D1, you guys can move to D1. And we talked about it. We did it. Like, I was on the SAC board, which voted on it. And I remember
Student Athlete Council.
Yeah.
For people that don't know.
And so I was on the board, and I was like doing everything, and I was talking to Docking. I was talking to the AD at the time. They didn't want to do it. And me, and in my head, I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't they want to go D1? But Docking made a great point. It's like, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or do you want to be a tiny, tiny, tiny fish in a big pond? And I think at first, St. Francis doing this, people are like, man, wow, that's fucked up. Why would they not go to no. The reason why is, one, probably all the sports at their college are probably D3. I would assume, right?
I don't think that's possible if basketball is D1.
Listen, Merrimack in NCAA, D3 in all sports, D1 in hockey. There's a few
hockey, but hockey is like so different outside the realm of things.
I'm saying like, but that's what it is, right? It's a lot of their sports. It's all depending on school size, funding, everything else. So by looking at their funding, they're probably like, we could be a big fish in a small pond of D3. Why not jump down there? The money ain't much different from D2 to D3. Like, it's probably nothing really. I think it's a good move, but like I said, I think a lot of these schools need to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, what are we? Are we going to be a nothing program, or are we going to be a something program? Are we going to be a feeder program to these big schools? What are we? Because college is kind of going away, unless you're going there for education. But sports-wise, it's now just
it's
a minor league. Yeah, it's a minor league system.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think unless the NCAA and or these big conferences subsidize these smaller conferences, and or there's just no more fucking conferences, and it's like the NFL where it's AFC, NFC, where it's like you have the big schools are two different divisions, and you have the crossover games, but you have division games, like whatever it is. Then these mid-major schools are obviously, it's one big conference, split them up. You play two big schools a year, so like that's how you make your money. Like however they decide to go about it. Fuck, it's just spilled. But however they decide to go about it, unless they start subsidizing these schools, like I could see Eastern Michigan tomorrow going D2. Like, that's how I feel. I don't want to see that happen. I want them to stay D1, but I just don't know how you can keep any fucking talent. Like, think about this. Max Crosby went to Eastern Michigan, was a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, one of the two. Came out of nowhere. But they knew that before the year. Like, if he had a solid year, he was going to get drafted. If he was at Eastern Michigan, because we were there at the same time, he would have been at a big school. He would have never gotten drafted out of Eastern Michigan. Like, that is never going to be a thing anymore.
Back in the day, when we went to college, it was strict. You chose a school. If you leave that school, you're sitting out a year.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, that's kind of a stupid fucking rule. But it actually had consequence to you leaving. There is no consequence to leave now. There has to be something. And I think that's where we talked about this, again, in the past few months ago. It has to go to contracts. You come to the school, you have to sign at least 2 years. If you want to leave before the 2 years, here's your buyout number. You have to pay our team this amount of money. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
You want to leave? We gave you $1 million for 2 years to come here. You want to buy out after 1 year? It's $500,000. Plain and simple. That's what it is. And it's going to stick kids there. And there's some accountability, because right now these universities are getting fucked. These mid-major programs who are actually spending the time to find these good hidden gems, to develop these hidden gems, now lose them. Now, good on the kids that they get to, go to the Dukes. They get to go. Great. That's good for them. But they should at least have to stay there for a certain amount of time that they signed to. There has to be, because a lot of these big schools don't want the freshmen anymore. So why are you hurting these small schools?
Well, I like the buyout part because, one, that's another way to subsidize these schools. If if a kid goes to Alabama from, let's just stay on Eastern Michigan, Alabama's got to give Eastern Michigan $300,000.
$1 million.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, why not?
Because obviously the schools would probably be paying the buyout just like they do coaches. Now at the scale of that might be tough, and there's a lot of more legal things and loopholes to jump through. But That's another way to subsidize. Like, there's got to be something, or these fucking small school, like, unless you're a top 50 college football program, you're not going to exist. There's just no way. I think St. Francis is the first kind of ball to drop, and since it's a small school, people are like, that's kind of crazy. But listen, everything is a small rock rolling down a hill until it starts to really pick up steam and fucking and then it hits the ground and there's a fucking earthquake.
I think it's bad for the NCAA for these things to keep happening. Like, it's bad for Division I think, if they just
it's not even the NCAA.
Off.
It's so out of the NCAA's hands.
I disagree.
No, it's so the NCAA just hasn't put the ruling in, but I don't think they'd fucking know how to. And or you have schools like the Big Ten and the SEC going to the NCAA and be like, motherfucker, if you don't let us do whatever we want, we're fucking leaving. And the NCAA is like, okay, mister. Like, they don't know what to do.
Rick Pitino said it best. The NCAA is not proactive, they're reactive. They only know how to react, and it takes them 5 years to do anything. So that's the real problem with the NCAA. They're slow.
Corporate.
They're just slow. So maybe it just needs to go away. Maybe the NCAA needs to die, and then something else that will be rebuilt from the ashes will be better. I don't know. But to me right now, the NCAA needs to do this for their smaller programs. Fuck the Alabamas. Fuck the Ohio States and the Michigans and all these rich-ass schools. They're not the problem. Like, they're printing money. Every year they're printing money. So they can do whatever they want. The Toledos, the Eastern Michigans, the fucking small Wyoming State, like, they need to have some reassurance that, hey, you recruit this 18-year-old kid from fucking bumfuck North Dakota who's a low-key a stud. He develops for a year or two, and then he goes up. I think college is going to give these guys extra 2 years to allow these little schools to survive, because that's how it has to happen.
Well, I think the NCAA already came out that everybody gets a 5th year now. I think that's I saw that somewhere. I might be lying, but they've already talked about how it, like, now it used to be 4 years when we were in school. Now it's automatically 5, because you got to fucking think about it. There's kids in fucking college right now that are 26, 27. They're my age. I've been out of fucking school for, God, it's 5 years.
But it's a job. Like, that's how I look at it now. When I used to look at it back when we were in school and you weren't getting paid, I was like, why the fuck would someone do a 6th year? They're redshirting again to do a 6th year? Like, you're like, why would you do that? Now these guys are making good money. It's a job. They're at this school getting a free education. They're getting paid $500,000. That's a job. If they left college today and got a job, they are not making that much money. So I get it now. I can get why there's a 27-year-old at Miami milking that tit for as long as he can.
I do get it now. I fully get it now. I truly do, but still, bro, college is fucking 18 to 24. Like,
not anymore. It's the minor leagues. It's the minor leagues. Look,
doesn't make
that's
sense.
how I see it. It's the minor leagues. It is the minor leagues. So guess what? If you're not good enough, you milk that tit as long as you can, and then you fucking collect those checks. I guess what? I'm sure it's pretty hard to be Van Wilder and leave after 8 years at Miami. That motherfucker's probably just taking freshman girls to town. Like, he's definitely doing some crazy shit.
Did you see his 40-yard dash?
Oh, it was embarrassing.
Yeah,
I almost commented on it.
He looked old as fuck.
Dude, it's just like, bro, hang him up. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he released a statement, too, was like, yeah, guys, I hurt my hamstring in the middle. Like, I was running like 4.5s all week. No. Motherfucker, if you have to tweet about yourself, like, Doug, you had 9 years. If you don't got enough fucking tape, you don't got enough tape out there for 9 years, pack it up.
Yeah,
pack it up, bro.
I agree. He shouldn't even have showed up to the fucking combine.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it
was embarrassing.
I do want to go through one more thing, because I think it's important, and I think we talk a lot of music on this channel, and it would be bad if we didn't talk about this. But DDG is laying the blueprint of what all these artists are going to be doing when they make these projects. So what DDG is doing is he's essentially building an album, letting his fans create the title and all the song titles that go along with the project, and he's going to be making songs, and they're going to be like, yeah, that should be on there. What order should it be? Or no, that shouldn't be on there. Throw that away. That project might actually go number one, because all those thousands and thousands, or hundreds of thousands of people that go on those streams and or influence the work are going to stream that project like crazy because they feel a part of it. And I think what DDG is doing is he's laying the blueprint to all music that if you're not fucking Drake, you are going to have to be on stream and build your project with the fans to be successful.
I do see both sides of this. I think it's great, and I think it's revolutionary, and I think DDG is one of the few people that understands what's going on right now, and he's being like, ooh, this is where I can take it. I can be the first one to do this, and so I really respect that. But on the other side of it, I'm also like, the cool part about an album is like not knowing like what we're going to get. I think there is a piece of that, right? And I think, not to say it's not going to stream well, and again, I want to see it come out. I want to see the numbers. I want to see how it, like, is DDG under a label? I'm not even sure.
I don't know. I mean, he probably is. Everybody's under a fucking label.
I'm assuming he's under a label.
Literally 99.9% of artists are under a label of some kind.
I just wonder how this will turn out, because obviously you see Plaque Max doing it and all those songs are going viral, but then again, are they getting plays after the fact? Like, I'll see it all the time, be like, Plaque Max makes Grammy level song with insert artist, and then I'm like, but I don't ever hear that song a year, like, you know, a month later, 2 months later. So I'm like, in the moment, yeah, they're cooking up something great, but I'm like, what is the shelf life for these things? Because if you spend 2 weeks building your album online, and yes, it's viral there, but by the time it comes out, is the juice gone? Because
of course it is.
Because your biggest fans are already doing it.
Because the thousands and thousands of people that are streaming it are going to send it to their friends and be like, I helped him fucking pick this song. It's all the flex. It's all the flex. So I do think it has the juice. I do agree with you about Plaque Max, that he's viral everywhere. Yet I've never heard anybody listen to a song outside of it. It's a lot of Kendrickness to it. And I'm not even saying Plaque Max.
Kendrickness. I just don't think the songs come out. I don't think they're actually coming out.
One, he's not dropping them enough. And two, this is where I think Plaque Max might go wrong, is he's just making the song and putting it on stream. The fans aren't influencing the work. Where DDG is doing it is he's allowing the fans to influence the work. It's a completely different structure.
But like, I wonder how much DDG is really letting the fans do the work, because at the end of the day, you might have 10,000 little fuckers in there just spamming a bunch of shit. Like, how are you just siphoning? Oh, at a hi-hat at 14? Sure, guys. Like, he's not doing that. Like, he's being like, yo, you guys fuck with this? You guys fuck with this? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, what about this? Okay. All right. And so he's building it, and he's just being reassured by his people.
But they're still building it.
So Max is doing the same thing. The difference between Plaque Max and DDG owns his own shit, and he's already has this deal with his label. Max is having labels reach out to him being like, hey, my artist, I want him to come on. We're going to pay you $10,000 for him to sit with you for 45 minutes, make a song. He's going, great, let's do it. It's viral everywhere. Then Max is trying to then clear the song, and they're going, nah, we're not going to clear the song. Or they're going to be like, oh, we use this sample. That sample's not going to get cleared, da-da-da-da. We're not going to do it. He's using beats from other producers. So it's like,
that's
you're dealing
his
with
flaw.
But okay, but he can't, as a streamline, right? He can't just make 20,000 beats for a bunch of different artists. Every artist wants a different beat, different style, different things. Yeah. So when he knows Wiz Khalifa's coming in, he's hitting up a bunch of producers. Hey, send me all your Wiz beats. So then he goes and sits down, and he's got 500 Wiz beats for Wiz to go through and be like, all right, I fuck with this. And then Max is just then sitting there helping the recording, fixing things, da-da-da-da. He's not actually making the beats and shit. So I think that's the difference. So he's really just producing the album. So he only has that little say of like, oh, we're doing this. Oh, I like that. Ooh, that's the thing.
But I think that's where DDG's doing it completely different.
But DDG and Plaque Max are completely different, because no one's going to DDG to be like, yo, let's make a song on stream. Everyone's doing it for DDG. I mean, I see DD shit all the time.
DDG is way more popular than Plaque Max in the grand scheme of things. From a following standpoint, from name recognition to probably facial recognition. DDG's got like 7 million followers on IG. Plaque Max has 200,000.
I think
it's a completely different game.
I'm not saying that Plaque Max is bigger, but from a label standpoint, who is more important? Plaque Max. Like DDG.
But I can't stream the song that Plaque Max is making.
Sure,
so what's the difference?
Sure you could. There's ways to stream it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I'm sure it's somewhere, but it's not like as accessible.
If it's not on Spotify or Apple Music, I'm not going to chase it down. Very rarely, unless it's a Rod Wave song and or a Drake song.
Maybe.
Did you see Drake might have Duke Dennis on a song? Did you see that?
That's a great idea.
That's fucking great.
Because Duke loves Drake.
We talked about this. We got to go fucking find the clip and just so we have it on wax. 6 months ago, we talked about how streamers are going to start being on big projects because of their fan base.
I mean, Drake already puts on like a bunch of random people. Like, even though like that clip at the end where he's like, we're all in this together, whether you're in it for yourself or you're in it for us. Matter of the fact is we're all together. Like that type of thing. Like that was just some influencer in Toronto that he just took. Like that stuff is definitely coming in. That stuff is coming to fruition. Duke Dennis is its own, like, that's its own entity. Everyone who fucks with Duke Dennis likes Drake because Duke likes Drake.
Yeah.
Blatantly likes Drake. So if you don't like Drake, you probably don't like Duke Dennis and vice versa, right? So I completely agree. I mean, plus Duke Dennis is like, that's a guy who you can put on your shit. Like even Kevin Hart's song was like, oh, this guy's got the look.
He's got the look.
It's just, that's what it is.
It's why I knew Future way back in the day was going to be successful. It's because he had the voice and he had the look. Then you develop the sound later on. That's always the last thing to hit. But if you have the look and you got the voice, game over.
That's all you need.
But if you made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe. Until next Friday, we'll see you.
About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on room for greatness. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fake shit.